My name's Christina and you're watching Proud Book Lion. And today I'm doing 3 things to talk about: sexualities. Now, there's more than 3 sexualities. Trust me, I know. But I'm going to talk about how they are written. So basically, as usual, I have 3 categories, so I think you'll get the hang of it when I start. Let's start by having it clearly stated and current throughout the book, which is done in Not Otherwise Specified by Hannah Moskowitz, which I love. In this book, Etta is bisexual. She states it in the beginning, and she stays bisexual throughout the book. She's a dancer, she loves musicals, she's just an amazing character. But what I wanted to focus about is that her sexuality is clearly stated in the book. She says herself that she's bisexual. She continues to say this, and we get to see her identify as such throughout the book. And I think it's really important that we have books where the sexuality is clearly stated so that people can identify if they also state their sexuality in the same way like Etta does. I've identified myself as bisexual since I was 12, so I could really identify with Etta, and I could identify with Etta with other aspects as well. But I really think it's important that we have books where the character's sexuality is clearly stated, we can see themselves identify with whatever label they have chosen, and that we get to see all the sexualities represented. Like, I don't only want bisexual characters, I don't only want straight characters, I want everything on the whole LGBTQIP+ spectrum. And from asexual to pansexual, literally everything. And I think it's so important to see them stated on paper and see it throughout the book. Now, number 2 is when the sexuality change, because sexuality is a fluid thing, and I also want to put this like category number 2 as when people find the right label for themselves. I know that in Ramona Blue, main character first identifies as lesbian, and by the end of the book I think that she identifies as bisexual, and that's an important journey. Sexualities are fluid, and finding the right label for yourself, that can take time. So I think it's really important that we have books that we see people change label. Another book in what that's happened is More Happy Than Not, where the main character believes or states that he is straight, and by the end of the book he is not. Which is really important, because as we grow up in a heteronormative society, a lot of us naturally assume that we are straight. We are raised to be straight. We can't hide that fact. It's just how society is and how it works right now, and that sucks, but that's the reality. So it's really important to see people not only come out, but to change labels, to find themselves, and to see that sexuality is a fluid thing. It's not something that you have to pinpoint, and it's not something that if you say something in the beginning of the book, it's not absolutely true by the end of the book. It's okay to change, and it's okay to find whatever label that works for you. Category number 3, if you haven't figured it out yet, is when the sexuality is not stated, which can be a bit of a problem, but I still think it's really important that we have books where the sexuality is not stated. I've chosen Codename Verity for this one just because I know there was a lot of controversy around this book, because I interpreted the girls to be interested in each other. Then if they're lesbian, pan, bi, that I can't put a label on, but that's what I got from the book. Others only saw it as platonic. Others did not see it at all. I know that the author later came out pretty aggressively and stated that they were straight, but in the book it's never stated. And I think if you do not state it, people are allowed to interpret the characters however they choose to do, because basically it's the reader's job to read the book and to get out whatever they want from the book. Like, we read to get an experience, we read to see ourselves, and then if we want to put labels on the character's sexualities in our own minds, that's okay. But like I said, I cannot say that any of the characters in this book is this or that sexuality. That's not up to me. That's actually up to every specific reader in this case, I would say. But I think it's really important that not everybody states their sexuality, not only so that we as readers can interpret and just read a book without the sexuality being stated, because people don't always find the right label. People sometimes do not want to label their sexuality, and that's okay. You do not have to have a label. You do not have to say, I'm pansexual, I'm straight, I'm bisexual, I'm asexual, I'm demisexual. You do not have to say that. You do not have to state that. If you state that and later on do not not want the label, that's also okay, that's valid. I just think it's really important that we have books that show all of these three things, because sexualities is something that's very taboo. It's still something that we don't speak enough about, and even if we have a book where the sexuality is not stated, it's important to remember what that can mean for people that are either questioning or have chosen not to put a label on their sexuality, because they are valid and they also need to be seen in literature. Therefore, if every character's sexuality has to be stated in the book in the very first page, these people won't ever be able to see themselves. Because by the end of the day, we're all people, and every human deserves to see themselves in books. In conclusion, I think it's really, really important that we show all sexualities and that we write them in different ways, that we show that sexualities can be something pretty rigid, that you can say that you're something and stay that for your entire life. That's okay. Like I've said, I've identified as bisexual since I was 12. That's a pretty long time considering I'm 18 right now. And that's okay. But it's also very important to show that sexualities are fluid, so you can believe that you're something and then it actually can turn out that you're not, or you can actually be and consider yourself and identify yourself as, for example, lesbian, but a couple of years or months later you can identify as bisexual. That's valid. It's also important to show that we live in a heteronormative society and you can live a long life believing you're straight and actually not be straight. That's okay. That's valid. And lastly, it's valid not to label your sexuality. It's valid to be questioning, and it's okay not to have every character's sexuality stated and written down in books, because we readers get to see ourselves in that book perhaps. We can interpret it in whatever way we want to and perhaps need. And it's really important to show that not everybody wants to label their sexuality. Not everybody has a label that they think is fitting. Not everybody is interested in labeling their sexuality, and that's fine, because sexuality is something very personal, and it's not up to me to decide what an author or what you choose to do. But I think just because of that, it's important that we get to see all different forms of sexualities and also different forms of writing them, because if everything is stated by the first page, then we're excluding the ones that are questioning and the ones that are not interested in labeling. And if we just write without ever labeling, there's very hard to actually get representation and to see yourself, especially if you've identified or if you're identifying yourself as something right now. It is very relieving and nice to see somebody doing the exactly same in a book. If that makes sense. Sexualities are all valid, whether you label it or not, and I think it's really important just to see how sexualities can be written differently, and to see that no matter how you identify, what you identify as, and whatever you feel or have gone through with your sexuality, you're valid, your story matters, and your story needs to get told and represented. I guess that was everything. I'm sorry if this is a bit rambly. I have like class in 30 minutes, so I kind of need to go. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Your support means the world to me. Have a great day /night /whatever part is for you. Bye!